Hi everyone, this is Hernan Rodriguez and I'm going to talk about APIs. So what is an API? An API stands for Application Programming Interface. I found a small definition in a website that explains that an application programming interface makes it easier for us as developers to consume the programming work of others to implement some common functional aspect to our site. What I understood, and after reading many definitions and watching some examples, I think that an API can be you can think of an API like a small program that works independently from your application and has a specific functionality. Now, you can develop your own APIs or use third-party APIs, and we can talk a little bit about this in a moment. Reading a lot about APIs, I was not understanding very well because there's a lot of definitions and it was a little bit confusing to understand what actually is an API. But after watching a few examples, I started to understand it better. So we can jump to that. First of all, let's understand how APIs work. Here I found a really nice example of how is the flow of the API. So it starts with an application or client, or our web application, or just a normal client that is going to request through an API request some data or functionality. So the client sends an API request to the server that hosts the API, the program. This server or host is going to process this information that we sent and is going to build a response. This response is going to be in a JSON format, and that JSON with all the information is going to be sent back to the client or application. Now this can still be a bit confusing, so I found another example to just analyze this a little bit better. Let's think of ourselves as, for example, we go to a restaurant and we sit on a table and we want to order some food. So in this example, this client application would be the customer that is sitting and waiting for their food. So a waitress comes and takes our order, and this would be the equivalent of an API. So the API will be the waitress, and she is going to take our order with all the information that we're going to give to her, and she's going to go to the kitchen and take that order and give that information to the chef, and then the chef with all his tools and ingredients and everything is going to prepare the food that's going to be the response. And then the waitress is going to take that food or dish of JSON and take it back to our table with us. So I think this is very nice explanation. I understood a lot more with this. I hope it is clear for you. So let's go to another practical example. First, let's see how an API request looks like. So we have first, this is the most important thing. We need to understand how is the API request that we are going to send. So first we have the URL, then you have the question mark, and after that question mark we're going to have parameters that are the information that we're going to send, and those parameters are going to go with this format: key equals value. So we have key value, semicolon, key value, semicolon, key value, and so on. Here is a small example from GitHub APIs. I found this in their documentation, and you can see this is right here. This would be the URL, the api.github.com/search/users, and then the question mark, and then this last part are the parameters: q equals rrodri44. This right here is my username of GitHub, and this API helps sends a request to GitHub. GitHub is going to process this information and search in their databases and bring us back, send a response of all the information available of this user. So if we go to a browser, you can see I pasted this URL that we were analyzing right now. If I click enter, it's going to send the request and it's going to bring us this response. So as you can see right here, this is all the information that it brought. It brought one result, and you have a JSON object right here with all the information of this particular user. If I put like Rodri, it's going to bring two results, this one right here and this Rodriguez, for example, right here. And you can try this out yourself if you want. You can use this URL, https api.github.com/search/users, and then question mark, and then put a q equals, and then just type in your username, and it's going to bring information about your user account of GitHub. Okay, now this, for example, is a nice example of what we were talking about at the beginning, when I said that you can develop your own APIs. As you can see, this API, what it does is goes to with information, it goes to a database, searches for information, and then brings back that information to the front end. And with that JSON information right here, you can do many things. One common thing that we do in web development is create APIs for our web application to go look for information in our database, or you can make an API to insert information to a database, or to delete or to update information in a database. And with those APIs, you can create the entire backend of your application, and it's really common to see that today in web development. So this would be an example of how you can use that. Then you have third-party APIs that you can use, and I found a really nice example right here in w3schools.com. We are using a lot this website, so I found this. If you look for APIs in W3 Schools, you find this, that they explain to you step by step to how to use Google Maps API. So if you can see right here, we have an implementation of the Google Map API. You can interact with this map. Here we are looking at London and England, and if you you see this in a website, it's because they are using Google Map API. And here is an example of how to use it. So first, we can see right here, this is all the HTML you need. It's not much more than this. With only this, you can have the map rendered in your web application. And there's only 3 parts to this. First, you have this div in your body of the HTML that is going to have an ID with Google Map and with some style, and this is going to have the map. It's going to render the map in this div right here. Then we have 2 scripts, this one right here and this one right here. In this one, in the bottom, you can see the source of the script is first a URL with Google APIs, then a question mark, and then parameters. This is the URL with the request that we're going to send to the server. Google receives this request, processes the information, and then it's going to return a JSON, a big JSON with all the information for the map. And if we analyze this a little bit more, you have first a key that this is provided by Google. You have to go to the URL that it's written over here in the second step, and then you have a callback that you're going to pass the name of a function. This is a function called myMap that is defined right here in this script right here. So this function is going to receive the information that Google sends back to you, and it's going to finish preparing. The map that's going to be rendered. And then right here, what you do is document get element by ID and just set that map into the div that you have right here. So these are like the 3 steps. It looks like it goes from bottom to top, and you finally have the map right here. So this was a really nice example. I liked learning and understanding a little bit more of APIs. I really think it's very important for us to understand that and start using them in our web applications. So I hope this was clear and helpful, and if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll be happy to discuss them with you. So thank you very much.